Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
But it's time now for a brief meditation and a channel from Kryon. And so we ask you to take a moment and just allow yourself to come into a quiet space. Relax all the tension out of your body. Relax your face, relax your shoulders, relax your arms and hands, relax your legs, relax your knees, your calves, your feet. And just feel the connection with the energy of the earth beneath you. And allow yourself to feel a warm embrace from all those who are sharing this experience with you. And we'll send out a wave of loving hugs to everyone that is gathered. And stand by for the first channeled message from Kryon for the Healing Wednesday of 2021.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. I have said this before. There are so many who would ask, do those from the other side of the veil whom I represent, are they truly aware of what humanity is going through? And the answer is more than you know. And the reason is this: because you have separated us so completely, made us something that is on high and you are on low. You have put a barrier, a wall, often between the creative source and yourself. You can see the barrier very clearly when you look at the protocols and the doctrines of the many spirituality groups and doctrines and religions on the planet. There is so much worship and bowing down to that which you see as so sacred, but you don't include it as being anything that you are as well. Dear ones, we have said it before, you are a piece of the Creator. And this is the truth. Perhaps it is the largest truth that we have ever spoken. And we have spoken it for 30 years. There's no separation. We are so aware of what you're going through because we are going through it with you. Indeed, you are never alone. Indeed, you are dearly loved. Indeed, there is something between us that is more than just a relationship. Inside you, at the cellular level, you might even say at the most smallest important pieces of you, even the DNA and smaller, are multidimensional pieces of the Creator itself, made in His image. You have heard that. The image is love. All of you are the image of love. I would like to talk today about one of four things. It's a series for this month. And I'm going to call it The Four Faces of Fear. Now, right away, there will be those who are listening to this broadcast and saying, well, wait a minute, I'm not a subscriber, and that's going to exclude me from the other messages, and that is not so. Listen up. I told my partner years ago that every single channeling I do should be free, and that there should be a method to make them free for the world. As many channels as possible, as many channels that are recorded, should be given away, and they are. There is a place on my partner's website where you can go and hear everything that we have ever channeled. There is one channel per Healing Wednesday, and they will indeed go to this place. Eventually, you'll see them all. So do not feel excluded as I present number 1 of 4, because you can hear all 4 if you choose. The subject, the 4 faces of fear. I say faces because that's what you look at. I didn't say attributes because that gives it perhaps a little more emphasis. It's a face. What do you know about a face? Everything is a metaphor. Dear ones, do I have to tell you that again? Even in the channeling, even in the messages, even in the language you hear it, there are metaphors. I'll say many things that sound odd until you understand the metaphor. What do you know about a face? First of all, you recognize a face and you can see where a face is friendly or not. But every single face is changeable. You can smile, you can frown. The 4 faces of fear. Now, why would I talk about fear when we have the healing modalities that we present here, where the entire subject of the day is healing? Why would I talk about fear? It seems to be an opposite to healing. So I will tell you again, for all of these years we have been saying these things, and now it comes to a head, a point, a focus. Here is the statement. You should hear it yet again. The opposite of healing is fear. If you are fearful, dear ones, nothing that is presented in any of these programs truly can get around that. That's the face that you have chosen for yourself. That particular face, dear ones, is a face that will interrupt almost anything that we can give you. We can't get past fear. You can't get past fear. It stops it all. Kryon, are you really saying that there's a barrier that even with good health and with good nutrition and all those things? Yes. That's what I'm telling you. Because true healing is done with a consciousness and not objects and not simply remedies. It has to do with your consciousness agreeing with what you're doing in order to send your body messages of hope and joy, compassion and healing. And if you're afraid, it all simply stops at that wall called fear. 4 faces. I want to talk about the first one. It's the 3D one. It's the duality one. It's the most basic one. And there will be those of you who say it can't change. This cannot change. Oh, yes, it can. Survival. You are born with the fears that accompany survival. Intuitively. Born. Fear of the dark. Fear, by the way, that you might be eaten. Now you'll say, wait a minute, we're not going to be eaten. Really? Because that fear goes from the old days of being afraid of being eaten by the Bengal tiger to being eaten by your peers or your situation or those around you or your competition. Do you see where I'm going? It's the fear of being eaten by that which you cannot control. There's more. The fear that you will not then survive because you are not perhaps good enough. These are basic survival instincts, you might say. A psychologist will say, that's correct. You come in with them. Any mother knows this. How long does it take for you to understand that within the child that you have, that you're looking at and that you love so much, They're all the things you never taught them. There's jealousy and rage and competition and greed and all of those basic instincts, the immaturity, no elegance yet. It's all there, and you didn't ask anything to them or teach anything to them to get them in that modality. It just came with the package, didn't it? So you know I'm right. Now what I'm going to tell you this. Now we're going to talk about solutions. First of all, a statement. Even though these things are instinctual and you come in with them, they are programs. That's all they are. Call them engrams, if you wish. They are stamped upon your psyche, and they are not hardwired. There's a difference. There's not really much that's hardwired except how your body functions. Everything else, especially in the consciousness, is a program. You come in with a legacy of the energy of the planet that supersedes you. All that has happened with low and high consciousness and duality for eons is stamped upon you, and you come in afraid. That is a program. And like every program that you've heard on these shows, all the things, it can be rewritten. It is rewritable. Interesting. Why does it show itself the way it does? It's almost like what you see, dear ones, with oil and water. You might have a glass of water and a little oil on it, and the oil stays on top. Let's say you're looking at the glass of water, which is a metaphor here of your consciousness when you arrive on the planet, and there's the oil representing all the negative things that's on top. It's only a fraction of the fluid, of the majesty, the joy, the compassion that is underneath that oil that's just floating on top. You got to get through the oil. You got to scrape it off. You can rewrite it. But it floats on top, and that's the first thing that you experience, and you got to get through. I want to tell you a story. It's a story about a child. The child will remain nameless, a little girl. I want to tell you what she experienced and what she did, because this is a wise little girl. You might say that this little girl kind of knew how things worked and figured it out for herself. There was one night when she went to bed. And when she woke up in the middle of the night, for whatever reason, she looked over and she got chills, because in the chair that was in her room was a horrible creature. She could just make out almost every single shade of its face, of its body, and it was just looking at her, and it wasn't moving. It was just staring at her. She was so afraid. Afraid of the dark, afraid of what was in the dark, of course. All these instinctual things that she had. Her mom came into the room because she was whimpering, turned on the light, and she realized that the monster was a clump of used clothing that she had simply put in the chair. That her imagination and her fear had created all of the things that she was certain of that were going to leap out of the chair and eat her, or worse. And all of these things she realized were there. When her mother turned off the light, interestingly enough, the monster returned in her mind, and she realized that this was something that was going to happen over and over. It was impossible for her to rewrite this. It was instinctual. And what she did, I want you to listen carefully. She created an angel. Whether it was a clump of clothes or whether it's something she hung by the door, that superseded anything that was dark. And when she went to sleep and when the light was off, she could look at that and say, "Dear angel," and she gave it a name. "Let nothing inappropriate be presented to me tonight in either my dreams or my room, because I'm protected. What a wise little girl. How about you? That was all a metaphor, and that was about a child. How about you right now? Can you create something that says, I am magnificent, and there is nothing that has come in that is more powerful than my magnificence, nothing that has come in with my birth that I would call fear of darkness or any of the phobias. It's all rewritable. And I am rewriting it because my magnificence will shine through anything dark. Does that work? Oh, yes. Just like the little girl. It works so well because you are creating you. Rewriting the things that are inappropriate, that have come in, that do not reflect you at all. Don't reflect your magnificence at all. That's just the beginning of what you can do. As I describe the other three fears, you're going to find a similarity of solution in every single one of them. But they are all in your control. That's the magnificent human that I know. And so it is. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Reaching the end of the day in a workshop is different than other times, for you've gotten to know one another. You've discussed perhaps some of the issues that you have. There's more coherence. That word alone means a connection. And whether it's a connection between those parts of your body or whether it's a connection between individuals, you can feel it. It's easier if you feel it than if you define it. Coherence is when you start to understand that there's an energy in the room. The energy loves each of you. The connection is complete when you start to visualize the silver strands of love and compassion of creation that go between each of you and make a puzzle complete. There was a day when my partner started to channel, and he was learning. And he saw others channeling. He didn't know which method was correct or what to do. He sat in the chair, and he shut his eyes like he saw many do in meditation. That was the beginning. Not much took place out of the ordinary until he started doing it in front of larger groups. And energy started to develop around the group, not my partner. As the group developed coherence together, the coherence was the connection between them, and that which was the creative source, the source of the connection. And that is when my partner decided to open his eyes. He never did it again. It distracted him and interrupted the channel. It broke the connection for him because what he saw, he was not prepared for. He saw light going between people. He saw colors around people. He saw the process of coherence, compassion, connection, love, whatever you want to say. It was too much. My partner says he's not a seer. He does not see energy. But while he is channeling, he does. And he would never open his eyes again because the channeling was interrupted. It was stopped. Because what he saw as a human being, he could not conceive of. It did not relate. It did not compute. And for a few moments, there was even fear. What he got to see was divinity between you. I want you to feel what he saw. And in the feeling of this, a little teaching. The difference truly between an older consciousness and a newer consciousness, between a time of darkness and light, between that, what was before 2012 and now, that is palatable for some of you. And there's a big difference. And part of it is what you are experiencing in the room. Coherence between individuals is much easier when you drop the barriers and try to feel and see God in each other. Can you sit next to a stranger and know absolutely that you're connected? You're connected because souls are big. They overlap one another. The energy is something that is collective. And you start to feel one another, even though you don't know each other. The difference between the old and the new, dear ones, is that there is far more coherence between you and the central source. And what this means is the old energy has you alone, working your puzzle alone, trying to figure out what you are supposed to do. A new energy in the light starts to give you a sense of coherence with everything around you, the puzzle around you, the people around you, and you get feedback. And in the old energy, you were not even sure. You didn't know. You questioned. You weren't certain. In the new energy, I'll give you a hint. We talk to you. We talk to you in situations. We talk to you in so many ways. And those who are in the old energy and used to the old energy are still perplexed. You don't understand what we're saying. So I want to talk about timing. Each and every one of you in the room listening is part of a grand puzzle between human beings on this puzzle, on this earth. Now, light workers, meaning old souls, you have a more complex puzzle than most. For you are awakening and cognizing the fact that there is more light than there was before, and you, of all human beings, know how to use it. You've been working the puzzle of light and dark for eons. The earth has an expanding population. That should tell you, where are the new souls coming from? They're coming from a pool of souls that haven't been here. And so that leaves you, who have, to guide the ones that have not. And you're not going to give them a course. What you're going to give them instead is coherence, love, compassion, understanding. But I want to talk about timing. You're unique. Each one of you, old souls, again, has a complete and separate path. What are you doing with your life right now? If you go around the room, if you sample who's listening, they'll all have a separate story. And so how can we give teaching instructions about how you're supposed to know if you're in the right place at the right time? Especially those of you who have a compelling feeling you're supposed to be doing something. So let's address that compelling feeling. It doesn't matter what the something is, dear ones, because it leads you into balance, or helping others, or helping yourself, or an exposition of the light that you carry. Almost all of you ask the question, whether it's how to discipline your child or whether it's how to write a book. These are the issues that make the difference in life, because you care, because you're asking Spirit, because you're asking other light workers, because you sit in the room or listen to the channel. There are so many projects and puzzles and issues. Let's address the projects. In an old energy, I give you a metaphor. You got a ticket to ride the train. Now that's a metaphor for you being given a push to do something. Now we have said this many times. The push creates a habit. The habit is what you've had from all authority since time has begun. When your father tells you to clean up your room, when does he mean clean up your room? And so the knee-jerk reaction to the push from Spirit to create something or do something, which comes through intuition, the result is do it now. And so you push yourself. That is an old energy aspect, and we have displayed it, expanded on it, and taught it for years. It's time for a new metaphor. You're given the ticket to the train. And then you're put in a box. In an old energy, the box was this: I don't know if the train is here. When is the train coming? The train could be outside waiting for me. I'm going to miss the train. So I'm going to start right now. I'm going to be prepared. That push said I should do something. I've got the information. I know it's right. I got to write the book. I got to go over here. I got to start the healing center. I got to buy the land. I got to talk to this person or something. I've got to connect. That's the train. And you're in the box. You have no idea. And so you push yourself. And the result is you do it completely and totally out of timing. Come out of the box and you realize it didn't work. Then you start blaming yourself. You don't know where the train came and went. You missed the train. Of course, that's human nature. If the train isn't there, you missed it. You never said, well, it hasn't come yet. Now let me expose the new energy. You get the ticket and you're not put in a box, because now the track is illuminated. And so you stand with the ticket and you wait for the train. Or do you? If the train is not on the track, that is a perfect signal in the daylight to say it's not ready yet. You're not getting on a train that isn't there. Are you getting this? When the train arrives, you get on it. And you begin the project. You finish it. You work on it. If the train isn't on the track, it means it's not time yet. Even if you have scheduled a time for your own project when you think you can, or when you should, or whether it's convenient, or whether it's efficient, it doesn't matter if the train isn't there. So in the new energy, the operative word is see the track, see that it's a signal to you. You're getting feedback. It's not ready. You're not in the box worrying, wondering. You're right outside looking at the track. And if the train isn't there, that means be patient. Schedule another time. Wait a bit, because it's coming. Look, you got the ticket. The ticket is the intuition you're supposed to do this. But now in this new energy, there is a beautiful thing to say to you, that you're out of the box looking at the track. Don't pull the old paradigms into the light that says you don't know, or it's not working, or you're stuck. No, you're not. The train isn't there. Simple. And then you're going to say, well, when is it coming? You know it's coming when the puzzle starts to be complete, when the things around you are moving so it's going to work. You don't want to start something that's going to fall on its face because others aren't ready or because the information is not complete. You don't want to start that. That's old energy things. You've all done that, dear ones, all of you. You've made it happen too soon. You've jumped the gun, as they say, because you're in the box. And you didn't know. You got information and acted on it. That's what humans do. But suddenly, an old soul with wisdom will get the intuition and go, I love this information. The train isn't here yet. Dear Spirit, when the timing is right, show me. Dear Spirit, when the train has arrived, make it clear to me. That is when I will perform. That's when I'll act. And that's when everything's going to come to me that should come to me. Instead of me pushing and worrying and saying, why am I stuck? Am I getting through? It's beautiful. The light is here to show when the train is coming. Rearrange your schedule to coordinate with the messages that are being given to you so clearly. Don't interpret the messages incorrectly. See them for what they are. This is new. There is guidance here in the way things are working or not working for you. And if you push and they don't work, stop and wait until the train arrives. There has never been a time like this where the clarity of your movement is being targeted to you in this way. But so many of you listening to this are not understanding it. And now is the opportunity for you to clear the boards, cognize what I am telling you, and accept this marvelous light from Spirit that wants to guide you to the right place, take you out of the box, and make you understand that situations that you encounter are not situations that are accidental. They're giving you a message. Go, stop, wait. Never before has it been so clear. But again, in the old energy, you just thought you were stuck. So I want you to proceed from this point on with this information. Spirit is connected to you by a beautiful silver thread. All of you. And this silver thread, this metaphor, can never be broken. Whether you choose to see and use the thread is your free choice. But when you see it and you grab a hold of it, that's when the communication starts. And because it's connected to all of you, that's when you start to get simultaneous messages collectively that pull you together in coherence. To try to make things happen and will happen that haven't happened before on this planet. When the coherence between humanity reaches even a marginal point, there will be peace on earth. For the coherence is the agreement of compassion between all humanity, that you will never kill each other again by design. That is wisdom, and that comes from the light, which is going to be yours. I'm going to say this, do not misinterpret it. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You have only begun this process. So you may see things on the planet you don't understand. But know this, that this light which is coming out is going to shake up everything. And the planet is not as it used to be, will not necessarily react as it used to. But you've got to go through these gyrations in order to know what you want and what you don't. And there are not enough yet old souls on board to make it necessarily smooth. So why don't you come on board? If you're hearing this and understand that an awakening to the light is an awakening to a longer life. It's an awakening to less anxiety and more solutions. It's an awakening to the silver thread that connects you with all humanity and the creative source, and always has. Look to the indigenous and the ancients for what they believed, what they know, and how they lived. For they honored their ancestors, which is another way of saying the wisdom that was learned before was applied to them. They honored the earth, which is to say they understood the connection between Gaia and humanity. They breathed the air that Gaia gave them and said thank you. And there was an alliance between them and all things that created something that lasted and lasted and lasted. Let this connection begin again with modern society. Let the light come out so that you will understand the signals from Spirit to go, to come, to be. What if I told you that the ancients actually had those signals? And they saw them in the animals, in the sky, in the stars, and the planet. They planned on them. They believed in them. I'll tell you, the creative source gave them what they asked for. And that's how they guided their lives. You lost it completely. Now it's time not to do what they did in that way, but to trust your intuition, ask for the guidance, know when the train is there. A return to what the ancients practiced and knew that was in general what is available today. I hope some of you leave this room differently than you came. Those listening, perhaps, can breathe a sigh of relief that nothing is wrong in their lives. You've got a beautiful ticket, some of you. And this beautiful ticket, intuition, says you've got this talent. You can put this together. You can do these things. But not yet. There'll come a time. It's going to be so obvious. You meet the right people, the right conditions show up. And you got to smile at that point and says, "Dear Spirit, here's my ticket." Believe it. Breathe easy, and you are known by God. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service.
Saudações, meus queridos. Eu sou Kryon, do Serviço Magnético.
Again, we say the voice is the same.
Novamente, nós dizemos a voz é a mesma.
The one you've heard all day long.
Aquelas que vocês têm ouvido o dia inteiro.
When you sit in front of a reader,
Quando vocês se sentam diante de um leitor,
or one who reads your past life,
ou alguém que sabe ler suas vidas passadas,
do you expect their voice to change?
vocês esperam que a voz dessa pessoa muda?
And the answer is no.
E a resposta é não.
They are using the talents they have as a human being
Eles estão usando os talentos que têm como ser humano
to look into that which is most sacred with you.
para olhar para aquilo que é mais sagrado dentro de você.
Some of them can see your akash.
Alguns deles podem ver seu registro akáshico.
Some of them sense it.
Alguns deles sentem.
Others are just in your Merkaba energy.
Outros simplesmente estão dentro da energia do seu mercado.
They're doing it as a human.
Mas eles estão fazendo isso como seres humanos.
All the things on the planet that are sacred
Todas as coisas sagradas no planeta
involve the human doing them.
envolvem o ser humano fazendo-as.
The masters that were given to you in the past
Os mestres que foram dados a vocês no passado
were regular humans.
Eram humanos comuns,
There
regulares.
has been no Superman to visit you.
Não houve nenhum super-homem visitando
Only
vocês.
regular human beings
Apenas seres humanos,
filled with the gifts of God.
preenchidos com os dons divinos.
Examples of what you can do.
Exemplos do que vocês podem fazer.
My partner even mentioned some of the masters who lived very long lives.
Meu parceiro até mencionou alguns dos mestres que viveram vidas muito longas.
Indeed, they did.
E de fato eles viveram.
Well, they had their DNA working at a percentage which was higher than
Pois eles
yours,
tinham seu DNA funcionando em uma percentagem mais elevada que a
so
sua.
that they could stay here and do what they came for.
Para que eles pudessem permanecer aqui e fazer aquilo para o que vieram.
It is an example
É um exemplo
of what you can do.
do que vocês podem fazer.
All of these things I tell you,
Todas essas coisas eu digo a vocês,
so you will not think that this is an odd thing to happen.
para que vocês não pensem que isso é algo estranho de acontecer.
Channeling is normal.
Canalização é algo normal.
All of you do it,
Todos vocês o fazem
and you don't even know.
e vocês nem mesmo sabem.
You don't sit in front of people like my partner, perhaps.
Talvez vocês não se sentem diante de pessoas como o meu
But
parceiro,
in everyday life,
mas na vida cotidiana,
you are given intuitive thought.
vocês recebem pensamentos
It
intuitivos
may guide you from place to place.
que podem guiar vocês de lugar a lugar.
Perhaps you're an old soul with the wisdom
Talvez você seja uma velha alma com a sabedoria
that you carried when you were an ancient,
que você carregava quando era um antigo.
and you know why you're here.
E você sabe por que está aqui.
This is channeled information for you personally.
Esta é uma canalização pessoal para você.
Many human beings can channel their higher selves.
Muitos seres humanos podem canalizar seus eu superiores.
Does not have to be an archangel
Não precisa ser um arcanjo
or an entity like Kryon.
ou uma entidade como Kryon.
For the higher self of every human being
Pois o eu superior de cada ser humano
is as high as any angel.
é tão elevado quanto qualquer anjo.
There is no category
No.
of highness in angels.
Não há categoria de elevação entre os
There's
anjos.
no system that is graduated from high to low.
Não há um sistema de graduação de baixo para alto.
On the other side of the veil,
Do outro lado do véu,
we are all the same.
nós somos todos iguais.
We are a piece of the creation.
Nós somos uma parte da
There's
criação.
no hierarchy of rank or privilege,
Não há uma hierarquia, não há um ranking,
or
um
knowledge
privilégio
or wisdom.
de conhecimento ou sabedoria.
We are all part of the same creative God.
Nós somos todos parte da mesma Deus Criador.
And your higher self
E o seu eu superior
is with us.
está conosco.
If you channel your higher self,
Se você canaliza o seu eu superior,
you get the same information I'm giving you.
você recebe a mesma informação que estou dando a
It
você.
is given from the same place.
Ela é dada a partir do mesmo lugar.
This is our promise to you,
E essa é a nossa promessa para você.
that you have a way
Que você tem uma forma
of going right to the source.
de ir diretamente para a fonte.
And in the process of your life,
E no processo de sua vida,
you will grow stronger in the ability to understand it.
você se fortalecerá na habilidade de compreender isto.
If the free choice you have asks for that.
Se o livre-arbítrio que você tem pedir por
I
isso.
want to remind you
Eu quero lembrar a vocês
of one of the things that I have told you many times.
de uma das coisas que eu disse várias vezes a vocês.
You are dearly loved,
Vocês são profundamente amados.
and you are family.
E vocês são família.
You are the ones who are going to change this planet.
Vocês são aqueles que mudarão este planeta.
I speak to the old souls in the room.
Eu falo para velhas almas na sala.
And this is not given to you like idly in passing.
Isso não é dado a vocês de forma leviana.
This is absolute.
Isso é absoluto.
You are dearly loved.
Vocês são profundamente amados.
Everyone.
Cada um de vocês.
How do I tell you this?
Como eu posso dizer isso a vocês?
How do I tell you that I really do know who you are?
Como eu posso dizer que eu realmente sei quem você é?
How could I not know who you are?
Como eu poderia não saber quem você é?
You are a piece of my family.
Você é parte da minha família.
My partner leaves this country
Meu parceiro deixa esse país
tomorrow.
amanhã.
There'll be a tendency in 3D
Em 3 dimensões haverá a tendência
for you to say, well, Kryon goes with him.
de vocês dizerem, Kryon vai junto com ele.
And that's not so.
E não é assim.
If you knew what Kryon was,
Se você soubesse quem é Kryon,
or what you would say who Kryon is,
ou o que Kryon é, quem Kryon é,
you would not associate the energy with my partner.
você não associaria a sua energia com meu parceiro.
He may have some abilities to communicate,
Ele pode ter algumas habilidades para se comunicar,
but you have to understand
mas vocês precisam compreender
that the energy of Kryon
que a energia de Kryon
is everywhere all the time.
está em toda parte ao mesmo tempo.
Did you know that the same attribute applies to your higher self?
Vocês sabem que o mesmo atributo se aplica ao seu eu superior?
Did you think it was just in you?
Você sabe que é apenas em você?
If a piece of you is God,
Se uma parte de você é Deus,
let me ask you this.
deixe-me fazer essa pergunta.
Where is God?
Onde está Deus?
You are everywhere.
Você está em toda parte.
But you live in a corporeal body,
Mas você vive em um corpo físico,
in a dimension that is 3 or 4.
em uma dimensão que são 3 ou 4.
And so you limit that which you see.
E, portanto, você limita aquilo que você percebe
And
ver.
you are not aware of what you cannot see.
E não está consciente daquilo que não pode ver.
And the invitation is for you to change this.
E o convite é que você mude isto.
And when you leave this place,
E quando você deixar este lugar,
to expand
expanda
in what you think you can do
naquilo que você pensa que pode fazer
and who you are.
e quem você é.
Now humans want fast change,
Os humanos querem mudanças rápidas
and they're not very patient.
e não são muito pacientes.
And you know that.
E vocês sabem disso.
Give it a chance.
Dê uma chance.
Give it months,
Dê meses,
if not more,
se não mais,
to make these changes that you wish to change.
para fazer as mudanças que vocês desejam.
What have I told you before
E o que é que eu tenho dito a vocês
about
antes
communication?
sobre comunicação?
What is the best question
Qual é a melhor pergunta
to ask God?
para fazer-se a Deus?
When you sit with Spirit
Quando você está com o
and
Espírito,
you're alone and you're quiet
sozinho, em silêncio,
and you can meditate if you wish,
e puder meditar se quiser,
what would you ask?
o que você perguntaria?
And I've given you the answer over and over.
Eu já dei a resposta a você várias vezes.
Dear Spirit,
Querido Espírito,
tell me what it is I need to know.
diga-me o que eu preciso saber.
Really, that's the only question you ever need to ask.
Realmente essa é a única pergunta que você precisa fazer.
Don't ask about what's going to happen with the situation,
Não pergunte o que vai acontecer com determinada situação,
or pray for something you want.
ou ore por alguma coisa que você deseja.
We are with you all the time.
Nós estamos com você o tempo todo.
We know what you want.
Nós sabemos o que você
We
quer.
know the situation.
Nós conhecemos as
And
situações.
we're always here.
E estamos sempre aqui.
We're always here.
Estamos sempre aqui.
Dear Spirit,
Querido Espírito,
tell me what it is I need to know.
diga-me o que eu preciso saber.
There is a beautiful, very complex system of the human soul.
Há um sistema belo e muito complexo da alma humana.
It will never be fully revealed.
Ele nunca será completamente revelado.
It doesn't need to be.
Não precisa ser.
But I tell you about this system
Mas eu falo a vocês sobre esse
so
sistema
that you will be aware
para que você esteja consciente
of how much we care about you.
do quanto nós nos preocupamos com você.
You know, when you're not here,
Quando você não está aqui,
you are on the other side of the veil with those like me.
você está do outro lado do véu com aqueles
A
como eu.
piece of the whole, which is God.
Uma parte do todo que é Deus.
Did you know that, really?
Você sabe realmente disto?
If you look at the life of Earth
Se você olhar para a vida da Terra,
and how long humans have been here,
por quanto tempo os humanos têm estado
do
aqui?
you understand that that is just a blink of an eye to God?
Vocês compreendem que isso é apenas um piscar de olhos para Deus?
Did you know that you and I watched this earth being created?
Você sabia que eu e você vimos essa Terra sendo criada?
Before that,
E antes daquilo,
galaxy, the very universe.
a galáxia, o próprio universo?
Before that, other universes.
E antes daquilo, outros universos?
Do you know that you have done this before?
Você já sabe que já fez isso antes?
You're so old.
Você é tão antigo,
You're so wise.
tão sábio.
There's so much here.
Há tantas coisas aqui.
I don't want you to doubt this for
Eu
a
não quero que
moment.
você duvide isso nem um momento.
There is an elegant system
Há um sistema elegante
that helps to put you where you will be the best and wisest old soul.
que te ajuda a te colocar no lugar onde você será o melhor e a mais sábia velha
And you
alma.
know all about it.
E você sabe tudo sobre isso?
You're part of the planning.
Você é parte do planejamento?
I want you to understand this.
Eu quero que você compreenda isto.
Some humans will say it couldn't be.
Alguns humanos dirão, não pode ser
I would
assim.
never have planned this.
Eu nunca planejaria isto.
Really?
É mesmo?
I'll tell you.
Eu direi,
Part of the planning
parte do planejamento
allows for your awakening.
permite o seu despertar.
We'll give you issues,
Nós daremos questões a você.
sometimes hardships even.
Às vezes, alguns difíceis.
Sometimes physical, sometimes mental,
Às vezes, dificuldades físicas, mentais.
sometimes of the heart.
Às vezes, do coração.
And they all are issues that push and pull you
E todas essas são questões que empurram e puxam
to a
você
wiser human state
para um estado humano mais
so
sábio.
you can help the earth better
Para que vocês possam ajudar melhor a Terra.
and create the most benevolent outcome
E criar o porvir mais benevolente
for humanity.
para a humanidade.
That's how big you are.
Esse é o tamanho que você
The
tem.
system of soul placement.
O sistema do colocamento das
Where you
almas.
go, what happens,
Onde você vai, o que
the
acontece,
timing of your life
o tempo da sua vida.
is all directed to most benevolent outcome.
Tudo isso é direcionado para o porvir mais benevolente.
You have free choice.
Vocês têm livre-arbítrio.
When you get to earth, you can do anything you want.
Quando vocês chegam à Terra, podem fazer o que quiserem.
But part of this elegance
Mas parte dessa
is the
elegância
design of the system
é o projeto do sistema
that will put you in places
que te colocará em lugares
where potentially you'll meet others
onde potencialmente você encontrará outros
and change the planet.
e mudará o planeta.
Now, if you want to go back far enough,
Agora, se você quiser voltar
I'll
longe o
give you
bastante,
some complexities to think about.
darei algumas complexidades para pensar.
And I do this again.
E eu faço isso novamente.
It's in your language.
Está em seu idioma agora.
You can hear this accurately and correctly.
Você pode ouvir isso de forma acurada e correta.
Think of this.
Pense sobre isto.
There are two kinds of inheritance.
Há dois tipos de heranças.
Now, this is going to really confuse you.
E isso vai realmente confundir
I
você.
do this on purpose
Eu faço isso a
to
propósito
show you an elegant, multidimensional system
para mostrar a vocês um elegante sistema
that you
multidimensional
are going to have a hard time understanding,
que você vai ter momentos difíceis para compreender.
no matter what language.
Não importa qual seja o idioma.
Who do you think you are?
Quem você pensa que é?
What is your lineage
Qual é a sua linhagem?
chemically?
Quimicamente.
Who are your parents?
Quem são seus pais?
Where are you from?
De onde você é?
Do you have European roots?
Você tem raízes europeias?
Indigenous roots?
Raízes indígenas?
Others?
Outras?
Who are your parents and your grandparents?
Quem são seus pais, seus avós?
What is your original nationality?
Qual é a sua nacionalidade original?
That's a good question.
É uma boa pergunta.
Did you know that that is completely and totally disconnected from your Akash?
Você sabe que isso está total e completamente desconectado do seu registro akáshico?
Let me give you an example.
Deixe-me dar a você um exemplo.
I have told my partner
Eu disse ao meu parceiro,
through others
através de outros,
and given him proof
e dei a ele provas
that his last lifetime
de que a última vida dele
was in the continent of Australia.
foi no continente da Austrália.
His last lifetime.
A última vida dele.
And yet, chemically,
E, no entanto, quimicamente,
he is Irish.
ele é irlandês.
How do you explain this?
Como explicar isto?
Did you ever think about these
Já
things?
pensaram sobre essas coisas?
Could you have a past life
Você poderia ter uma vida passada
that's different from your lineage chemically?
que é diferente da sua linhagem química?
And the answer is all the
E
time.
a resposta é o tempo todo.
It's almost like the lineage of the body
É quase como se a linhagem do corpo
is a 4D system,
fosse um sistema de 4 dimensões,
but the lineage of your Akash
mas a linhagem do seu registro akáshico
is a multidimensional
é
system.
um sistema multidimensional.
And it can move around within the chemistry as it wishes.
E ele pode mover-se dentro da química da forma que desejar.
Entire karmic groups
Grupos kármicos inteiros
will slowly move to other places on the planet that need old souls.
lentamente se mudará para outros países no planeta que necessitam de
Right
velhas
now,
almas.
right now,
Neste momento,
many of you
muitos de vocês
and many of my partner's friends
e muitos dos amigos de meu parceiro
have a planned incarnation
têm uma encarnação planejada
into the continent of
no
Africa.
continente africano,
For it is the next one to awaken fully.
pois é aquele próximo que vai despertar
It's going to
integralmente.
need old souls and wisdom,
E será necessário velhas almas e sabedoria,
many talents that awaken,
muitos talentos para despertar,
systems of government that make sense,
sistemas de governo que fazem sentido,
technology that works,
tecnologias que funcionam,
new ideas spiritually,
novas ideias espirituais,
and they are not there now.
e elas não estão lá agora.
And so therefore there's a system of implanting you there.
E portanto, há um sistema que implantará vocês lá.
Now when you get there,
Agora, quando vocês chegarem lá,
your lineage is going to be very different.
sua linhagem será muito diferente.
Your skin may be a different color.
Sua pele poderá ser diferente de cor.
How do you think this works?
Como vocês acham que isso funciona?
And what is the reaction when you change karmic groups?
E qual a reação quando vocês mudam de grupos kármicos?
What would happen
O que aconteceria
if you have spent many lifetimes in India
se você tivesse passado várias vidas na Índia
and then many years ago
e de repente, vários anos atrás,
you find yourself a Brazilian
você se encontrou como um brasileiro,
with the lineage of a Brazilian,
com a linhagem de um brasileiro,
with the chemistry of a Brazilian or Portuguese?
com a química de um brasileiro ou português?
And now, what about that Indian lifetime?
E agora, que tal aquela vida aí na Índia?
How does that work?
Como isso funciona?
That is your Akashic remembrance.
Esta é a sua lembrança akáshica.
This is why a past life reader is important.
É por isso que um leitor de vidas passadas é
They can
importante.
help you with issues you might have
Eles podem ajudar vocês com questões que vocês podem
as you
ter,
remember a culture from India
conforme você se lembra de uma cultura na Índia
that pushes upon the culture of your chemical lineage.
que pressiona sobre a cultura da sua linhagem
I
química.
told you this would not be easy to understand.
Eu disse que isso não seria fácil de compreender,
But do you see the elegance of the system?
mas você percebe a elegância desse
You
sistema?
are put where you can do the most good.
Você é colocado onde você pode fazer o maior bem.
Let me tell you something.
Deixe-me dizer algo.
There are many around this world,
Há muitos ao redor deste mundo,
old souls in the northern hemisphere
velhas almas no hemisfério norte,
that are beginning to reincarnate
que estão começando a se reencarnar
as Brazilians.
como brasileiros.
I tell you this
Eu digo isso a vocês,
so you will have an idea of what is going on.
para que vocês possam ter uma ideia do que está
You're
acontecendo.
going to need some wisdom,
Vocês precisarão de alguma sabedoria,
more than you have now,
mais do que vocês têm agora,
and some old soul talent
e alguns talentos de velhas almas
that is going to emanate from the south of Brazil
que vão emanar do sul do Brasil
and eventually change South America.
e eventualmente mudar a América do Sul.
I've told you that before.
Eu já disse isso antes.
But did you know it's part of the system of incarnation?
Mas vocês sabiam que isso é parte do sistema da
The
encarnação?
result can potentially be
O resultado pode potencialmente ser
the most benevolent outcome
o porvir mais benévolo
for this entire continent.
para todo esse continente.
But you're not alone.
Mas vocês não estão
But
sós,
there are many who are having this happen to them right now.
pois muitos estão vivenciando isso agora,
As the energy of this planet starts to rejuvenate itself
conforme a energia desse planeta começa a se rejuvenescer
and the old energy starts to diminish
e a velha energia começa a diminuir
and not push back as hard,
e não vai revidar tão intensamente,
it enhances this system of timing.
isso melhora esse sistema de tempo.
Everything is about timing.
Tudo tem a ver com o tempo apropriado.
There is a universal clock
Existe um relógio universal
that is in a circle,
que está em um círculo,
that is multidimensional,
que é multidimensional
that guides this entire
e
process.
que guia todo esse processo.
And it cannot be explained to you
E não pode ser explicado para
because
vocês
it's not linear.
porque não é linear.
But you can peek into that a little bit.
Mas você pode captar um pouco disto.
Maybe that's not the right terminology, Lee.
Talvez essa não seja a melhor
My
terminologia.
partner
Lee.
wishes to rethink this.
Meu parceiro quer repensar sobre
You
isso.
can get an idea of the complexity of this
Você pode ter uma ideia da complexidade disso,
by asking this question.
fazendo a seguinte pergunta:
Why is it that so many of the systems
por que é que tantos dos sistemas
that you have
que vocês têm
for yourself
para vocês mesmos
depend upon one thing,
depende de uma coisa:
your birthday and the time of birth
o dia do seu nascimento e o horário
and where you're born?
de onde você nasceu?
Many systems
Muitos sistemas
only need three things
precisam de apenas três coisas
to open up an entire knowledge base
para abrir todo um banco de conhecimentos de dados
of you and your past lives.
de você e suas vidas passadas.
Don't you find that odd?
Vocês não acham isso estranho?
That can be done with only those three items?
Que isso pode ser feito apenas com esses três itens?
Now pretend for a moment
Agora imagine por um instante
those three items were not three at all,
que esses três itens não fossem apenas três,
but were thousands.
mas milhares.
You would have an idea of the multidimensional clock.
Você teria uma ideia do relógio multidimensional?
Those who use that data of those three items
Aqueles que usam os dados desses três itens
and apply them to the systems of the planet
e os aplicam aos sistemas do planeta
are able to see this in a multidimensional way.
são capazes de ver isso de uma forma multidimensional
Develop these systems to help you understand yourself.
e desenvolver esses sistemas para ajudar vocês a compreenderem a si mesmos.
Astrology is simply one.
A astrologia é simplesmente um deles.
The I Ching, the Kabbalah,
O
so
Xing,
many
a Kabbalah,
going
tantos
right to your birthday,
entram diretamente no seu dia de nascimento,
time of birth,
a hora do nascimento,
place on the planet.
o lugar no planeta.
It's more than you think.
É mais do que você pensa.
I give you this information
Eu dou isso a vocês
so you will start to see a grand plan
para que vocês comecem a ver um grande plano
that you have participated in
no qual você participou,
that puts you in the chair in front of me.
que te coloca na cadeira diante de mim.
That's how much God loves you.
Esse é o tanto quanto Deus te ama.
This is complicated.
Isso é complicado.
I'm not going to try to explain it.
Eu não tentarei explicá-lo.
You don't need to have it explained.
Você não precisa disso explicado.
All you need to know
Tudo que você precisa saber
is that there's a part of you
é que há uma parte de você
that is responsible for it.
que é responsável por isso.
And you're in the right place at the right
E
time.
você está no lugar certo, na hora certa.
Old soul,
Velha alma,
can you go there? Can you think this way?
você pode ir lá, pensar desta forma.
Can you really see it clearly?
Você pode realmente ver isso de forma clara.
Think of this room.
Pense nessa sala.
Not even those who are listening
Nem mesmo aqueles que estão ouvindo
later.
mais tarde.
Think of this room.
Pense nesta sala.
How many lives are here?
Quantas vidas estão aqui?
What have you been through?
Pelo que vocês passaram.
Look at all the experiences.
Observem todas as experiências.
You all know, do you not?
Todos vocês sabem, não é?
That you represent cultures from all over the earth.
Que vocês representam culturas por toda a Terra.
Don't pay any attention to the chemistry of your lineage.
Não prestem atenção à linhagem química.
That's just for this life.
Isso é apenas para esta vida.
For your Akash contains the entire world's culture.
Pois o seu Akasha contém as culturas do mundo inteiro.
Civilizations that have come and gone and that are lost in history.
Civilizações que vieram, foram e que estão perdidas na história.
Some of you in this room
Alguns de vocês nessa
have
sala
been in the Indus Valley.
estiveram no Vale dos
Go
Hindus.
look it up.
Procurem.
Sumerian.
Sumérios.
You're one of the oldest cultures in history.
Vocês são de uma das culturas mais antigas da Terra.
But that's only 10,000 years.
Mas ela tem apenas 10 mil anos de idade.
What about the other 30?
Que tal os outros 30?
There are cultures that you remember in your Akash
Há culturas que você se lembra em seu registro Akashico
that actually affect you today.
que na verdade afetam você hoje.
Dear Lightworker, Old Soul,
Querido trabalhador da luz, velha alma,
as you begin to awaken more fully to who you are,
conforme você começa a despertar mais integralmente para quem você
don't
é,
be surprised
não se surpreenda
if some of the past cultures
se algumas das culturas passadas
touch your life a little bit.
tocarem um pouco a sua vida.
Don't be surprised
Não se surpreenda
if you start thinking a little different,
se você começar a pensar de forma um pouco
picking up
diferente,
some of the wisdom of the past.
captando um pouco da sabedoria do passado.
Even might affect what you eat
Isso poderia até mesmo afetar aquilo que você
and
come
what you wish to eat
e o que você deseja comer,
that is different suddenly from what you used to eat.
que de repente é diferente daquilo que você costumava comer.
Now you know why.
E agora você sabe
There's
por quê.
actually two of you in here who now know why.
Na verdade, há dois de vocês aqui que agora sabem por quê.
You are changing your diet,
Vocês estão mudando sua dieta
and you want to,
e vocês querem,
because you are picking up
porque vocês estão acessando
an awareness of another culture you used to be in.
uma consciência de uma outra cultura na qual você já esteve.
This is complicated.
Isso é algo complicado.
Did I say that?
Eu já disse isso.
All of this
Tudo isso
is so beautiful.
é tão belo.
It puts you where you should be.
Coloca você onde você deveria estar.
This is how well we know you.
Isso é o quão bem conhecemos você.
Kryon, do you know what the next lifetime will be?
Kryon, você sabe como será a próxima vida?
I know what you have chosen.
Eu sei o que você escolheu.
Kryon,
Kryon,
is that absolute? Are you sure we'll do that?
isso é absoluto? Vocês têm certeza que faremos aquilo?
Of course not,
Claro que não.
because things could change on the planet.
Pois as coisas do planeta podem
You
mudar.
could change.
Você pode mudar.
When you get back to the other side of the veil,
Quando você voltar para o outro lado do véu,
you'll do advance the schedule of enlightenment for the planet.
talvez você esteja em um programa avançado para a iluminação no planeta.
Your karmic group may go somewhere else.
O seu grupo kármico poderá ir para algum outro lugar.
Kryon,
Kryon,
you call it a karmic group.
você chama isso de grupo kármico.
We were supposed to drop our karma.
Mas nós não deveríamos ter
We will
largado o
con-
nosso karma?
we will continue to call it a karmic group
Nós continuaremos a chamar de grupo kármico?
because that's what it started as.
Porque é assim que começa.
Now, you may drop your karma,
Agora você pode largar o seu karma.
but the group will continue to be the group.
Mas o grupo continuará a ser o grupo.
Kryon, why is that?
Kryon, por que é assim?
So you'll recognize each other
Para que vocês possam se reconhecer um ao outro.
and love each other
E amar uns aos
and
outros.
work with each
E
other
trabalhar uns com os outros.
all the time.
O tempo todo.
There will be no new things to have to go through when you're dealing with a friend.
Não haverá novas coisas para poder passar quando você estiver lidando com os amigos.
Think of it this way.
Pense dessa forma.
You travel as a spiritual team,
Vocês viajam como um time, uma equipe espiritual.
thousands of you,
Milhares de vocês.
from one place
De um
to
lugar
another,
para outro.
incarnating as group.
Encarnando como grupos.
In the old energy, they were called karmic groups.
Na velha energia, eles eram chamados de grupo kármicos.
Today, they are still called the same,
Hoje são chamados da mesma forma.
even if you dropped your karma.
Mesmo que você tenha largado seu
It's
karma.
simply a name,
É simplesmente um nome.
and we continue to use it
E nós continuaremos a usá-lo,
because it's self-explanatory.
porque ele é autoexplicatório. Explicativo.
Think of this.
Pense sobre isto.
How many of the people have you met here today
Quantas pessoas você encontrou aqui hoje
who you don't know?
que você não conhece?
I'm going to tell you something.
Eu vou dizer algo a você.
You do know them.
Você conhece essas pessoas.
And if you get to know any of them,
E se você chegar a conhecer mais qualquer um
you're going to
deles,
start to realize that.
você começará a perceber isto.
You're going to recognize their soul group.
Você reconhecerá o grupo de alma dela.
Some have even called it a star group.
Alguns poderão até chamar de grupo estelar.
That's how it feels to you.
É assim que sente para você.
And the star
E a estrela
is the sun.
é o sol.
You are part of the earth family.
Vocês são parte da família da
And you
Terra.
continue to work together.
E vocês continuarão a trabalhar juntos.
You know each other.
Vocês conhecem uns aos outros.
You call it something else.
Vocês chamam isso algo mais.
Humans of like mind,
Humanos que têm a mente similar.
all gathered in the room together.
Todos reunidos nessa
Many
sala.
of you resonating to the truth as you hear it.
Muitos de vocês ressonando com a verdade
So I'm
conforme
going to
escutam.
close this channel with basic truth.
Portanto, eu fecharei essa canalização com verdades básicas.
Every single one of you is known by God.
Cada um de vocês é conhecido por Deus.
There'll come a day
Chegará um dia
when all of this is finished,
quando tudo isso estará terminado.
and you'll know I'm telling you the truth.
E vocês saberão que eu estou dizendo a verdade.
When you will hear the music,
Quando você ouvir a música,
what a term you have. It's more than music.
que termo vocês têm? É muito mais do que música.
You'll hear the tune of God.
Vocês ouvirão a melodia divina.
It's always playing.
Está sempre tocando.
It's played in light,
Ela é tocada com luz
and you know you're home.
e você saberá que está em casa.
It's a tune that is so familiar,
É uma melodia tão familiar
and you don't hear it with ears.
e vocês não ouvem com ouvidos.
You become light,
Você se torna luz
and you meld with it.
e você se funde com ela.
You watched the universe being created.
Vocês observaram o universo sendo criado.
Do you know that?
Sabia disso?
And you sit here in a corporeal form,
E você está aqui de forma corpórea
and you worry about life.
e você se preocupa com a vida.
Expand this.
Expanda isto.
This is truth. This
Isso é
is truth.
verdade. Isso é verdade.
Known by God,
Conhecido por Deus,
loved by God,
amado por Deus,
cared for by God,
cuidado por Deus,
with free choice
com livre-arbítrio,
to ignore everything I've said.
para ignorar tudo que eu disse.
That's how much you're loved.
Isso é o tanto quanto você é amado.
Blessed are the humans who hear this message
Abençoados são os humanos que ouvem essa mensagem
and can feel God inside.
e que podem sentir Deus em seu interior.
I challenge you
Eu desafio você
to feel God
a
inside,
sentir Deus em seu interior.
because when you begin this process,
Porque quando você começa esse
all
processo,
the cells in your body will awaken
todas as células em seu corpo despertam
and know that you are changing.
e sabem que você está mudando.
They're ready
Elas estão prontas
for your direction
para a sua orientação
and your instruction.
e suas instruções.
So go do it.
Portanto, vão e façam.
Kryon remains
Kryon permanece
and always will.
e sempre permanecerá.
Does not go away
Ele não vai embora
simply because my partner does.
simplesmente porque meu parceiro
I
vai.
want you to remember that.
Eu quero que vocês se lembrem disto.
Always here,
Estou sempre aqui,
just like all the angels,
assim como todos os anjos,
working with your higher self.
trabalhando com seu eu superior.
We never leave,
Nós nunca partimos
and so it is.
e assim é.